Hey, this is Emmett Jerome, and you're listening to Music Row.
Welcome to Music Row, a backstage pass to your favorite country artists. Here's your host, Leek.
Emmett Jerome is on the program. A new album has just been released, which is exciting and
Is it really exciting?
scary. And did it take forever to be released for you?
So it took like a matter of days to be recorded, and that was so out of proportion to how long it took to be released. It took over a year to get released from the time we finished it up.
What was the stall behind that?
The stall was getting signed basically to a record deal, and
So this record was done for you first, and then you
It was
sent it
done.
out to people saying, "Hey, what do you think?"
yeah, I didn't really know how to navigate sending out stuff, but yeah, somehow I was sending things around, and it got into the hands of a Vancouver label. And they were like, "We really like this. Why not? Let's talk."
I like how you say somehow. Because
Somehow,
it sounds very honest to me that you actually don't know how anything
so
happened.
the reason why they knew who I was is because they'd seen one of the guys who worked there before he worked at the label had seen me busking 3 years before, and he saw me busking, and then he saw the album, and he goes, "Wait a minute, I know that guy." I saw him, and he sent me a photo, and he goes, "Do you remember this is when we met?" And it's a photo of me on the beach playing the guitar.
And where was this, in Vancouver?
This was in Vancouver at Kids Beach, and I guess he was kind of like, "I saw you busking, and I kept my eye on you, and then looks like you're doing things now. Like looks like you've made an EP and that sort of thing." So it finally came together.
Well, I'll tell you that whoever that person was at 604 Records, one, they have an ear. Two, people, we can see buskers and people perform, street performers and bands in bars all the time. And there's so much of it, it doesn't always stick out.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, you are a talent, and we'll get to hear some of that in a bit, but that's a real thing, man. That is super awesome.
I'm really happy that now busking gets to be a piece of the story, because I always was a busker, and that was what I did as a teenager, and it was the first thing I did when I got to Vancouver. I came to Vancouver during COVID, and there was nothing to do, so I was like busking in earnest. My first Vancouver group was like a little bluegrass band, and I just kind of got swept up by these, traveling bluegrass players. And I was like, this is so cool. And then I started my own busking band after that. And that's kind of how things got started in Vancouver. So I'm really glad that led to something, because now it's like, oh my God, I get to continue on that, where that started.
Now you're at least busking indoors.
Yeah, they let you inside now, and they it's great. It's honestly the same thing. It's very much the same thing. Like, I think busking was one of the best things I could have been doing at that time to like figure out playing live, figure out playing in front of people, what grabs people's attention, what can stop someone in the street and get their interest. And
What was your move?
I mean, in those days, there's a lot of stunts. I would like ride the bass and play the guitar behind my head and stuff like that. And my buddy had a big doghouse bass, so we liked stunts. And then when they started letting us indoors, we would stunt indoors.
Did you have a permit
for busking?
It wasn't, because I think that you have to. It's a.
I will not disclose that information.
It's a permitted thing in some spots.
It's a permitted thing.
They don't allow you to just busk anywhere. You can't go onto the New York subway and busk.
No, and Vancouver, I'm pretty sure, is the same. Now, because it was COVID, we had like kind of a good deal going where the beach is closed at 10. So at 8 o'clock,
because that's when the COVID comes.
Right? COVID swoops in.
Quick, save yourself.
Yeah. Essentially,
It comes in through Horseshoe Bay.
it's in the cloud.
Yeah. Oh my God. Thank God it was at least in a cloud so you could see it in case your watch had failed.
Well, and they'd see it coming, and it was actually a really interesting, weird time because we would busk and it became kind of a regular thing. So it'd be around 7 or 8 o'clock on the weekend. Like, it'd be like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday became a thing where people would show up and they would be there before we were. They were like, when are you starting? And it became kind of a thing because there was nowhere else to go.
Where on Kits Beach? Were you close to the pool?
We were close to the pool, kind of like right outside of that parking lot.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of really great photos of it and stuff. And I love looking at that stuff because it's like very homegrown.
Sure.
You know, and very real. And it was very visceral. Like you're playing in front of people and you have their face right there and they're showing all this energy right back at you. And there's nothing else going on in the city to really do this.
Yeah, everything is closed.
Everything's closed.
They're allowing you to be outside until 10 o'clock.
Right. Well, and at 10 o'clock, so what was crazy though is 10 o'clock, I'm not even joking. The squad, like the police would roll up and they go, okay,
Clear the beach.
Clear the beach. And they would go, we're going to do a lap of the beach. And when we come back, you guys aren't here. So they were cool enough to be like, I see what you're doing here. Like, this is very human.
Yeah.
And this is like probably it was good for me. It was good, I imagine, for a lot of other people too, to have that experience. So they would go, we're going to do a lap. When we come back, this isn't here. So that's kind of how it went down. But it was a weird time.
And you would probably see the same cops then all the time because
the same cops,
there would be
right?
the same beach patrol. We got beach duty tonight, and you're doing Thursday, Friday, Saturday evening.
Exactly. So you see kind of how it kind of turned into like a thing where it was like, we're all good here. And yeah.
Are people showing up with like coolers and blankets, like knowing that this is going to happen?
People are showing up, like at the time, people were showing up with like their dancing shoes. Like it was very like upbeat and fun. And yeah.
So how long would you busk for on the beach?
It was usually
in
about
Vancouver.
I started a band called Bad Money.
But no, would you do like a 2-hour set each
when
night?
we would do like a 2-hour set. Now, when I was with my first band, that bluegrass situation, that's like 12 hours. That was like all day, all night. And usually, if you're playing on the street all day, usually you're going to get invited somebody's house to go play at their house and go party. So that was that was all day. And we would go around the city and we'd hit all these.
And that's
spots.
during COVID. You get invited to someone's house, which weren't supposed to. Weren't supposed to. But that's look.
Weren't supposed. But I mean, people are going, hey, like, come back.
Did anybody hear a bluegrass song that you know of while you were in Vancouver, maybe illegally at someone's place? Did anybody that you know die?
No.
Then you're fine.
No, nobody was harmed by the bluegrass.
Bluegrass never killed anybody.
My job was harmed. I remember my buddy one day going, quit your job, play bluegrass. And I thought that was the funniest thing ever. And I ended up quitting my job and just like...
What were you doing?
I was building tiny homes very briefly. So like that was kind of the gig I got when I moved to Van and was like out of college and figuring stuff out. And I was building tiny homes. I was stoked. I was going to build my own tiny home.
Did you have experience in doing stuff like this back in Alberta?
Like, not really. No, only what most folks would have.
Don't say most folks. My neighbors don't know which end the hammer is supposed to be.
Let's just say this: I had experience. I had experience a lot of experience from my dad. I had worked from like a young age doing like different labor jobs and stuff. So you pick things up.
Yeah.
But I was very untalented at building tiny homes. I have such a bad attention to detail. So
all of yours have a lean.
Yeah, like my tiny homes were like tiny shacks, you know.
So you're doing tiny homes for a while, which is awesome because at least look, you were able to find a gig.
Yeah, and it was a cool gig. Like, kind of kept me going for a little bit.
And you were applying for gigs while you just showed up in Vancouver with how much money in your pocket?
So I showed up to Vancouver and I spent a year at a music college. And I showed up with all my stuff in like a garbage bag and just was like, I had essentially like had done a full exodus of Alberta thing. I'd like broken up with my lady and I was like, I'm out of here.
Where in Alberta were you from?
I'm from a town called Bragg Creek.
Where's that?
Bragg Creek's south of Calgary, maybe an hour.
Closer to Lethbridge?
I would say, yeah, it's like it'd be between the two. It's very close to Canmore, actually. Right. It's very close to Canmore. Folks know where that is. so I had come west, spent some time, music college. That kind of shut down when COVID happened. So I moved home, and then I made my return. And that was like when things started happening in Vancouver. I had time. I was no longer in college. I was just like working a job and trying to get something going. And I joined this bluegrass group, and I was like, this is so much fun. And all I want to do is play. And on my lunch break, I'm like transcribing music and stuff. So I'm like, I am in the wrong place right now. So I quit the job. And then that was step one in Vancouver. That was step one. I learned so much from those guys, and I think it really just like it showed me this. Oh, this is the path of music that I should be going down. Like,
what did your family say when you called home and said, "Oh, by the way, I dropped out of college"? 2, I have also quit the tiny home job that I had. Now here's one for you. I'm in a bluegrass band and we're busking.
And we're ripping around. I mean, my family is they were definitely cool with me dropping out of college because I was putting myself through college. So they don't care. They're like, yeah, you do you. Like, I was putting myself through college, and so when I quit, it wasn't a big deal. And yeah, I don't think they mind. I don't think they.
You never talk to your parents, do you?
Yeah, I don't. They might have heard. They might be hearing this for the first time now. No, they were really cool about it. I got 2 parents that like love music, and I've got a dad that grew up playing a ton of music, and he was a piano player, and he went right, and he was in the workforce right away. And what he did is he busted up his hands, and he always was telling me, like, don't fuck up your hands. If you want to play music for your whole life, don't fuck up your hands. So, you know, my first gig is I'm like in this warehouse building tiny homes, bunch of other random kids who are doing this as like an apprenticeship, and everyone's, you know, taking off fingers here and there.
I was just going to say, how many digits did you see missing? Like,
I saw some, I did see some rough stuff. Like there people did get kind of, just because it was a little, but yeah. So when I got out of there, I think my dad was like, thank God, because, you know, you'll find a job and you'll find money, and, you know, Vancouver's a type of city where there's lots of opportunity, and you just have to like know where to look. So yeah, so it worked out.
I know a guy who worked in a sawmill, and he said he goes, I'm proud to be the only guy I know who worked in a sawmill who did not lose a digit.
Yeah,
but everyone else did. You know, working the tools and stuff. Obviously, if you're building things and cutting and that, a little bit different than cleaning up a job site. And
yeah,
all that stuff. But it's a real thing that happens to these guys,
yeah,
and ladies all the time. Like, it's saws are sharp.
Yeah, and I mean, this, or even like the problem with my dad was, you know, I told him I wanted to tree plant, and he was like, I tree planted, and I did 2 years, and you know, now he's at a spot where he's like, I got crazy arthritis from years of doing that, just from the wear and tear. So, anyways, I'm
People
sure
also, with tree planting, they think it's like you're in a park and it's flat ground.
No, it's full on. It's like, that's a wild job.
You're almost a mountain climber, planting those trees in like 30 above. Every bug that you have never noticed before is attacking you. So, I mean, I should take a minute to say, folks are listening. A lot of my buddies, my bass player right now is in construction. Like, a lot of my friends who do music are in construction, and you know, I was totally going, like, I was in that road as well. And honestly, I just like was really lucky to get a chance to like do something else, that spend more time playing music. Because like, I have a theory with musicians and construction, and that is, you are doing something for someone else, and that is gratifying for you. So
I totally disagree.
No, it wasn't gratifying for you seeing the finished product?
I think that's kind of one of the things where like being part of a team, I'm into that, but sorry, and I didn't mean to stop you, but I think that was a big reason why there's the wires there that were switched, where I was working for someone else and I was like, okay, I am working these 12-hour days. Like I'm working this. I'm never.
It's not gratifying to you.
Why am I not making something that I like to make? You know, and why am I not building something that I like to build? Which is music, which is bands, which is making records, you know. So I do think that's a big reason why it was like, frig, I don't care what it takes, but like I need to find a way to like put this energy somewhere somewhere meaningful.
Do you find the energy now is even more maybe announced in your body to say, we got to keep going, we got to release, we got to record, we got to write, we got to perform?
Yeah, I mean,
more so because now it's like, this is your real opportunity.
Yeah, dude, like,
and you love it.
Yeah, like, I mean, I just like, I love making things and I love making music and I love the adventures that it takes you on. And I think that like is really reflected in what I do. You know, when I'm not playing as Emmett Jerome and his band, you know, around BC and Alberta and Toronto, I'm playing with other people's bands. I'm recording on other people's albums. I'm, you know, learning how to record my own stuff. Like it's, I can never get enough, you know, and I just really enjoy it. I really enjoy it.
With all that knowledge that you're picking up with being around the music and all the genres, we'll touch upon that in a second, but really all the genres. You're in the studio, you're working with other friends and all that. Are you becoming a tougher critic for you?
Yeah, and I think that's like kind of what I was looking for, you know. If you drop out of college, I had no desire to stop learning. You know, I just didn't want to be in college. So one of the first things I was seeking out was these musical elders. The first gig I had in Vancouver was a guy named Jay Gavin. And for like 2 years, me and Jay Gavin were like, he's a country singer. And, you know, maybe 20 years older than me. And we were in a van kind of going around. And he was showing me the ropes of, he's like, yeah, I've been doing this my whole life. And practically living out of a van and selling T-shirts and doing that whole thing. And great songwriter, like amazing songwriter. And yeah, he was like one of the first mentors that I had. And you know, and I started to play with him. I played with a guy named Elliot C. Way. Played in a band called Spank Williams. I just basically folks that were farther along the path than me, and whose music I really loved. And I was like, I'm gonna do this with you. I want to learn.
That's a nice way to learn too, because someone else is the band director. Someone else is kind of leading the project, and they are asking you to follow the recipe. Yeah. And that recipe may not have been something you would have ever gone down the road to, and it only helps you grow.
Right, and you know, nothing's created in a vacuum, right? So I consider myself to be like really lucky that I have all these great people around me. But I think I also like really sought that out. You know, I really sought out having a community of like cool musicians and great people, and you know, I want to know the least amount in that room that I'm in. I would much rather be a sponge and be like excited because I know the least amount there, you know.
Let's talk about all the genres, the influences and such. Yeah. So Dad is music, he's talented, he's plays piano until he can't play no more.
Yeah.
What's played around the house? And
what's funny is I feel like he wasn't the one that brought music into the home as much as my mom did. Because my mom was the listener with the records and with the like cool taste. You know, she had like a tasty record collection, like some interesting stuff. so that's what got me into like guitar music was, the Dire Straits. And I heard that from my mom. And if you follow that path, like that first big band you love, Dire Straits, after I devoured all that, it's like, well, what came before the Dire Straits? And then you look and it's like, well, it's kind of those like Sun Records guys, and like Carl Perkins and, Buddy Holly and stuff like that. And then you go, oh, well, all those white dudes, and well, where'd they get that from? And I ended up getting really deep into the blues and like the electric blues, like Chicago blues stuff, because I saw that stream. That was like the river that all this stuff streams out of, So for a really long time, that was all I was interested in as a teenager.
The only person in your community of your age who was listening,
probably of my age, but luckily, it's you go to the blues bar and you go jam, and you do that, and I was doing that as a kid, and
but you can get sucked into a terrible spot as a kid, going into a blues bar with some of these, being in a bar as a young kid is not great. It can lead to bad things.
Yeah, I mean, it was.
How did you get out of it, like, and not get into trouble? Because I'm sure it was awful. I
think I'm kind of the same way I was then as the way I am now, which is like, I think I'm such a kind of a music nerd. I have this introverted side to me, that I'll get sucked right into whatever's making sound and ignore everything else that's happening. So I'll be in a bar and there's some nefarious characters. It doesn't matter then and now. I'm just like I am probably going to be giving a lot more focus on the music.
Who's making that sound? How is that sound being delivered?
Or I'm trying to dance with girls and failing and doing that thing. But, when that bridge has been crossed, I'm like, the band.
But it's, still, it was music related.
Music related, right? So, but yeah, you're right. But I think, I was in a small town too. Like, folks look out for one another. And I think that was a big part of it. The town I'm from is like 1,000 people. It was so hard to sneak into the bar and play, because in Alberta you're not allowed, even as a musician. I thought you were like a teen,
like in high school, that could just go in on a Sunday afternoon or something like that. I don't know what
the one that had music in my town was called the Powder Horn, and the Powder Horn I wasn't allowed in, but I could sometimes get in on a special occasion. But I would see my 10th grade teacher there, and they'd be like, "Hey, what are you doing here?" Shh. So yeah, I don't think it was like a hairy scene though. It was like a small town, like blues dad scene. So I think it was actually pretty chill.
What was your first live gig?
First live gig?
You're on stage. I'm going to go perform before a crowd. Was it high school? Were you playing the talent show?
I mean, I think I played my middle school talent show, and I was in grade 6, and I played.
Were you 10?
I was 10, and the guitar was as big as me.
Sure.
And
almost a comedy.
It was hilarious. Yeah, and we were super bad. And then we came back the next year and we were really bad.
I think there's an improvement. You went from super to just really.
And then we came back, we were grade 8 and we were the oldest ones in the school, and we played as a trio, and we did a Kenny Wayne Shepherd song called Blue on Black. And we did Sweet Home Chicago by Robert Johnson. And it was fucking awesome. And I stand by that. I was like, that was fucking sick. And I was playing this really weird guitar. It's called the BC Rich Mockingbird. Because anyone who might know that
isn't that like a metal?
It's like a total pointy guitar.
It's got even the head. Doesn't the head have horns on it?
It's super. It's a horny guitar. It's a horny pointy guitar. And yeah,
streaming buddy guy,
right? And then after that, we did that. That's when it was I think that summer, we were playing around Bragg Creek, You know, that was kind of, people were like, oh, sick. Like, these guys can finally play. You know, so it took a few years and many hours in the basement to get my stuff together. And
it's funny because I think that it seems easier on paper. You've got the gear, you know, whether just even having a guitar to begin with. Never mind if you have an amp, if you have a buddy who plays drums. It just seems like, you know, sometimes it should be a little bit easier than it is.
That's what I thought it would be like. I swear to God, I played a bit of trombone and a bit of saxophone in my like school band, like the concert middle school band, and I was really into it and I loved music. I was like, this is great. But you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to buy a guitar because I'm going to find a way to get a guitar. So I like, you know, did the 10-year-old thing, like odd jobs and stuff like that. I was cleaning up a neighbor's like acreage and stuff, like scooping poop, and bought this guitar and sat down. I was like, I don't know how to play. Wait, I don't know how to play this. And I'd already told everyone, oh yeah, like I'm a guitar player. I'm in a band. And I'd already said all this stuff to everyone. It's been
announced
pre-guitar? It had already been announced. I didn't even have the guitar yet, but I knew that I was like, once I get it, it's done. So when you say it looked good on paper, oh yeah, I saw that paper and I was like, this is a ticket. And I picked up the guitar. I was like, oh no, what do I do? I don't know what to do. And so I spent some time, obviously, glued to that guitar.
And when does your family then notice that, wait a minute, he's getting it. It's coming.
It did not come. I was so bad. I think...
Well, you got good in grade 8 because
it did not come.
The best show ever in grade 8.
It did not come. It did not come. I remember my first band, I was like the worst one in the band. I was the one that was like, please let me in the band kind of thing. Like there was already a band and they needed some kid on guitar and I was like, I'll do it. And I sucked and they were like gritting their teeth because we're all friends. But then like, yeah, you're right. After like a year, like it was kind of like, oh, now it's my band kind of thing. And it like swapped. But at first like that, I was so bad. I was terrible.
But honestly, it's like if you look at someone who's like an Olympic diver, the first time they dove was a belly flop.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm not against the experience of learning because I'm terrible at things now that I want to be better at. It's more. I was not like naturally talented at guitar. I was much more naturally talented at trombone. That was something that came easy, and that's why I was playing it in their school. But guitar was weird. I had tiny hands. And
you had a gigantic fucking guitar.
You know, I had this huge guitar, and I picked up an electric guitar, and like I had this little amp that came with it, the Squier amp, and it only had one mode, which was like extreme mode, like heavy metal distortion. So it was like really unforgiving, and it was so hard to make a nice sound out of that guitar. So that's why it was just like, oh God, it was so unforgiving at first. And I spent so long like glued to it, making terrible sounds.
How is a guy who listens to the Sun Records catalog, a guy who got into blues music, end up with this metal guitar and an amp that only has loudest as a setting? Like it seems they really do contradict.
Well,
makes for a great story.
It makes for, I think before there was ever the Sun Records, you know, like obviously by the first couple years before the Sun and the Blues and all that stuff, it was like you want to go your own way as a kid. You know what I mean? So I was listening to metal and I was listening to Guns N' Roses and stuff. It was only when I think really started to like feel the music that I don't know, like I got totally drawn into the kind of like, I don't know, that older stuff, you know? And it's like you follow that ladder. One from what band did this? What band? What were they listening to?
Do you think a label for you, Emmett Jerome, as this type of genre artist is accurate? Because you're listed as a country.
I'm listed as country, which is very interesting. Because
people need a label.
I think people need a label. I think a lot of music, like country, is super broad, which I love. My idea of country is like, leaning towards more like Buck Owens territory and like Bakersfield, like Haggard and those guys.
Williams.
Yeah, and exactly right. So I find it's a tricky thing when you're categorized as country, because I'm like, I want a two-step, I want to dance to this music, and that's not really what I'm into making. Now, that being said, there's that other kind of folk songwriter like John Prine, Guy Clark. That's stuff that I really like as a songwriter. So I feel like I draw from that web of the country world a lot more than I pull from the like steel guitars dancing side of the country world. So
what's on pop country radio today?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, totally.
Like Beyonce is up for 12 Grammy Awards. 8 of them are in the country category. And then she's got 4 in every other category.
To rephrase something I heard Chris Stapleton say in an interview really recently that I am like, preach, dude, is he was talking about how country music has always had a pop side. There's always been, like, Grand Ole Opry didn't allow drums back in the day. Like, it was very clean, and, they had the Nashville sound. It was like with a lot of strings, and it was very polished. Country has always had a pop side, and it's always had a harder side. So, when folks go, oh, country these days, it's so processed and fake. It's like, well, there's always been a piece of it, though, that's been very, like, radio friendly. And there's always been a piece of it, too, that's, like, down in the mud. So
never been a better time to be who you want to be than right now, because we can access it so much easier than ever before.
Yeah.
As long as you get grouped in with the bands that you believe you should be grouped in, like, and by that I just mean just good songs.
Just good songs, right? Like, 100%.
I know people who don't know how to categorize any genre, unless it's someone playing a BC Rich guitar. They would generally know that, okay, this is the metal category when upon hearing a song, but they just hear songs. And it's, I like it or I don't. And it doesn't matter if it's country, Americana, rock, pop.
And I feel like the nice thing about all those genres you just mentioned is they're all kind of coming from the same stream of, like, basically blues music. Like, you take a blues song, you can play it 10 different ways, in a rock thing or a country thing or a traditional way, swing way, it doesn't matter. So, I feel firmly seated in, like, a blues thing. That's, like, what has really spoken to me all these years. Now I'm really interested in taking that and running with it and seeing where I can take it. And that's led to, some country songs, and it's led to some rock songs, and it's led to some other songs that I don't really know what to call. So, if we really had to put a label on it, I feel like it would be, these days I'm calling it kind of like folk rock, but I got to champion that it comes from the blues, and that's what I am sticking by.
Years ago, Zac Brown released a double album. One was country, one was rock.
Yeah.
That should be telling enough to know that people who like music don't care if it's labeled one or the other. Just make it good. And
exactly.
We'll consume it.
Yeah.
Rocky Mountain Sun.
Yeah.
You put together a year ago. You finally get it released. You probably wrote 19 other songs since then. Do you think that those songs that you've written since will see the light of day, or it's like
there should be something coming in the new year as early as February?
Wow.
Yeah, we were in the studio all throughout October which is great. Finishing up a bunch of new music. So yeah,
so like weeks after you release your album, your debut, you're in the studio recording again.
We were in the studio before the release show had happened.
Does the label know that this happened, or are you just bringing more stuff forward?
The label knows. The label knows. I was kind of like, I want to make more stuff. Let's keep making stuff. I want to be in the studio. That's my happy place. And they gave you a check mark. So I'm like, cool. I'm there. So so I've been putting a ton of energy into that and like loving it. And it's great to make music that it's always the last thing you made is you're most excited about. So it's great to be doing stuff that's like current. I still really respect the Rocky Mountain Sun EP and like where that came from, because it was a really specific slice of life. But I'm really glad to be making new stuff.
Emmett Jerome, Rocky Mountain Sun is the new album. New stuff coming in the new year. Tour dates coming. We know that there's going to be a whole bunch of stuff for 2025 for you. And I really do appreciate you coming in and
thank you,
hanging out with us.
Jeff.
And
cheers.
And we're going to play a track. So thanks for taking us out.
One last thing. Anyone that wants to follow along, I'm going to talk to the camera. Anyone that wants to follow along, I do an email list. I do an email list that sends out emails to people in different cities depending on where we're going. So you can find that on my Instagram. You can check that out if you're interested. It means you don't miss a thing. And I'm trying it out, and I'm really excited about it.
You're really active online too.
I'm really active online. I try to be like.
Were you always that way, or someone have to tell you to be?
Someone had to tell me.
Well, I get it.
You know how it is.
Absolutely.
So you know how it is. You can find it, but I'm stoked because we just played our first show in Toronto ever, and I was just like, people were there. Like it was awesome, and we played our album release and sold it out in Vancouver. The last time I'd played at that venue a year prior, I think 2 people came. So
I'm hearing that story more and more.
And it's just like, cool.
Just keep doing. And if you're good, they'll come.
Yeah. So definitely I'm just like stoked. Like, awesome. Like I know that I want to make some music and I want to put it out there. And if you want to listen, if you want to come to a show, then I'm absolutely thrilled.
Emmett Jerome
to do that.
Music?
Emmett Jerome
Instagram?
Music. Yeah. Yeah.
Thanks for doing this, man.
Thanks, Jeff. Cheers. Hey guys, my name is Emmett Jerome, and this is the single I just put out. It's called Rocky Mountain Sun, and I hope you guys enjoy this one. Well, I'm on my way, keep traveling on. The darkness of night gives way to the dawn. And I'm running on empty, running on fumes, running on a memory, a photograph of you. So far away, so long ago, I still hear, carry on. I think of you when nights are long and I'm yours. Your Rocky Mountain Sun. Oh no. Well, I left my heart a boxcar door. I lost my mind on some distant shore. I swerved when I saw you, a flash in the dark, and a ghost in the rearview, a face in the fog. So far away, so long ago, I still hear, carry on. And I think of you when nights are long and I'm yours. Your Rocky Mountain Sun. When I close my eyes, I see your face. And I drive through the night so I don't have to sleep. And I'm running on empty, running on fumes, running on a memory, a photograph of you. So far away, so long ago, I still hear you carry on. And I think of you in nights are long and I'm yours. And I think of you in nights are long and I'm yours. And I think of you in nights are long and I'm yours. You Rocky Mountain sun. All right, thank you.
Follow Music Row on X at Music Row Country, on Instagram at Music Row Official. Music Row is produced by Shed of Dreams.